So wait a minute. So all these platforms, HBO Max, Hulu, Disney, Netflix, Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, they're all pivoting to
Ads.
TV.
cable.
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember when they
Yes.
said, "Hey, pay for these and you won't have ads."
Yes.
Now they're gonna push us all back to cable. They're gonna push us all back to cable.
I don't think so.
Or
I think,
having
I think,
only one and that's it.
I think
Well,
cable.
the cool thing with cable with Comcast On Demand was it gave you the option to watch regular TV.
Mhm.
It gave you the option to watch yesterday's brand new show today with ads.
Yep.
And it
True.
also gave you the option to, if you wanted to pay for a higher tier, to get movies and TV shows like Friends,
Mhm.
like, Seinfeld, that you could watch all 10 seasons, and you could pay for that, and you could go back to the past and watch all of those things.
Sure.
So you had all the options in one little box.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. It's all right there.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh, let's
You had
try.
a DVR. You could record stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And now it's like, oh, well, what happened was it was the actors' strike that started doing all of this because they weren't getting paid. Why weren't they getting paid? Because all of the commercials that these channels had
I think
paid the actors. And then if you wanted to pay additional for Stars,
Sure.
for Cinemax,
I
for
think
HBO,
I think
then
the
that would
issue.
also pay additional to the actors and the writers and all those things as well too.
I think the issue here is that cable providers had such a monopoly on certain areas. So if you
Yeah.
lived in an area where it's like we offer Comcast, you're not getting Verizon, you're not getting, DirecTV or whatever. You are pigeonholed into buying Comcast. The great thing about all of these streaming services is that, and it happens every few years, is a new streaming platform will come along that will undercut everybody else, and it forces prices to stay down. You can't say the
Yep.
same thing for cable. How many years were people complaining that people's cable bills were going up 5-10% every year over year? And now we're in a place where 10 years ago Netflix was $7, and 10 years later it's what, like 14 or something like that. It's not
25.
that
Yeah.
$25 for Netflix.
I just lowered it to
Probably the 8 or something.
$7.99.
Okay, then come on, then don't, that's disingenuous. Then you can't just say, oh, it's
Well, you
$25
lowered it- no,
now.
you lowered it to 8 to get the ad-supported version.
So
Yeah.
so there's
Ad-supported version. So, like, for example, when I was on even Audible, I paid to go down to one free credit every 2 months versus one credit a month.
Mm.
And when I was paying for the full service, because it kept on going up and up and up and up, I got certain books for free. Now I don't even get those anymore.
No,
So,
you're paying for Audible plus you're paying for the book.
right.
Yeah.
No, well, the Audible credit pays for the free credit. The Audible account pays for the free credit every other month.
Yeah.
Now I just download a book once a month, or once every other month, which is fine.
Okay, for just to add a little bit of context to what you were saying before, the version of Netflix that's $22.99 a month, that's for 4K and HDR. The standard version that's 1080p, which is what you don't need 4K, you don't need HDR because Netflix is not releasing those kind of shows or those kind of movies that are in that quality. It's $15 a month. The price has barely doubled in 10 years. You cannot say the same thing for cable. Cable's prices didn't just double in 10 years, it quadrupled during its dying days. From the years of, let's just say 1990 to around 2005, the price of cable easily quadrupled. That's kind of what I mean. So it's still not.
But the thing is, you're right. But when you add, if I was just watching Netflix, 100%.
Sure.
But it's not just Netflix. It's Netflix. It's Prime. It's HBO Max. I was actually looking at all my streaming stuff, take away internet.
Mm-hmm.
When I put my internet and streaming stuff, just my 4 or 5, and I get 2 of them for free through my phone company, I was paying $50-$60 a month more than if I wanted to get cable with 400 channels and all the ad stuff attached to it. It cost me more money now.
I wonder how much cable would be.
With
Like
inter-
a standard package of cable with like HBO.
So when I was doing it before, it was about $200, and that was internet, cable, and phone.
And phone.
And if I got rid of the phone, it was still like the same price.
Yeah.
It was actually cheaper to get the phone with it.
Yeah,
just
they
because
wanted you to have the
wrapping it.
package, right?
Right. So it was about $200, and that was probably 7 years ago. Was the
Okay.
last time we had cable.
Okay.
Right now, I'm currently paying $65 a month for just cable,
Okay.
and then my my streaming services are actually wrapped into my Verizon plan.
Okay.
And I'm paying a discounted price for a Disney Hulu package and a Netflix HBO package, and they're
Okay.
all ad supported.
So fine. So
So I'm paying $20. I'm paying $20 in total for my
So-
my streaming.
fine. Then
and
maybe
then
then maybe
65
then
for the
maybe
internet.
then maybe I'll walk it back. Maybe I'll concede that point then. If you're a Cinebuff, yeah, you're gonna be paying a lot of money. If you're the
Yeah.
average Joe Schmo, you're picking one or two.
Yeah, we're not average Joe Schmo.
I don't
No,
know
we're not.
anyone that just has one or
No.
two.
I know people who have just one or two.
Yeah,
I know a lot of
I
people
think a
who
lot
just
of
have
people
one or
we
two.
know.
I know a
do.
lot of people who
Um,
either just have Netflix or they just have, HBO or whatever. And I also know
Yeah.
people that will, for example, House of the Dragon is coming back. I'm going to be purchasing HBO for the next 2 months and then I'm canceling. Sure, here you go. Take the $15 or $30 and I'm going to watch the show and then I'm turning it off and I'm just going to go back to my one streaming service. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah.
different because we watch a lot of content and content
Yes.
is in a lot of different places. Like that's different. So
I think that's the issue that I have though, is you got all that content in one place, and
Well,
then
you
if you
didn't.
wanted HBO,
you
you
paid
did.
extra. You paid extra for HBO. You paid extra for Stars. You paid extra for Showtime. You paid extra back when Cinemax and HBO were
The
separate.
reality.
You paid separate for
Ad-free stuff.
you paid
Yeah.
separately
Which I
for
was-
all of these packages with cable.
Yes.
right? But you got like
Showtime and Cinemax were kind of
those things. Like you could buy a package with HBO Max for
HBO
a
and
year for
Stars.
free. Like they give you you get the regular package, you get HBO for free. And then they would also do, weekends where you got HBO and Cinemax
For
or
free.
Stars or
Yeah.
Showtime for free for
The free
a week or
preview
something
weekend,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you
Yep.
watched it then. But you had one place to go for everything. Now it's like you log into Amazon and
Yeah.
you're like, nothing's there.
yeah,
You
that's
log
fine.
into Netflix, nothing's there. You log into Disney Plus, nothing's there. You log into Hulu, nothing's there. You log into HBO Max, nothing's there.
Sure.
If you have Paramount Plus, if you have Peacock, you're going to all these other places versus just going to one spot. Like if you have streaming services with Comcast and you go into their on demand and you type in a show, it'll bring you to the platform that like when it had Netflix with HBO Max with Comcast,
Yeah.
you would type it in and it would bring you to the on demand version and the Netflix version, and you could just pick one and watch it. You're not scrolling, you're not logging in and logging out and blah 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 blah. You go to one spot. And it was when Netflix did this, Netflix was doing it as like a Redbox. That's what started Netflix, was just
Sure.
like
Oh, we remember.
it was like
I remember.
Redbox
In the
but
mail.
Yeah.
in the mail. Right. And then everyone's like, oh, but Netflix wasn't a production company.
No.
When they became a production
beginning.
company is when it became
So what?
an issue.
House of Cards, Orange is the New Black. There were a couple of other shows that came out through Netflix. But I'm thinking about like when they initially became a production company, it was House of Cards and Orange is the New Black. So yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm different. I like the convenience of the streaming service. I like not flicking through channels. I like knowing exactly what I want to watch, and I like being able to just go straight to it. I don't want to the days of me laying in bed, flipping through channel to channel, trying to find something to watch are done and over, and I never want to go back to that time again.
I still do it just through 5 different platforms.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Unless I know exactly what I want to watch. Like if I know, hey, we're watching a movie this week and it's on HBO, I'll go straight to HBO, go to search, type it in.
You have time
Right.
to just watch a movie just for fun?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good for you. I mean, I've been so just
I
because
watched.
you guys
I
have been
watched.
talking so much
I
about
watched
Godzilla.
3 movies this week that were all 3.5+ hours. So yeah, I have
Well,
time.
yeah, but that wasn't just for fun. That was for our next conversation. But no, I'll say I did watch.
You rewatched I didn't watch a single one this
Well, no,
week.
you didn't
I
have
rewatched
to.
them,
Will
yeah.
had to rewatch them.
Yeah.
Me though,
You're gonna hate me.
I had to. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes. I I watched the Godzilla movies, not all of them. I just watched I rewatched Godzilla versus Kong. I watched is that all I watched? Yeah, I rewatched Godzilla versus Kong. Then I watched King Kong. Or sorry. Then I watched Godzilla, like 1954 Godzilla.
Yeah.
Or was it 54 or 57? I watched that and I'm like, it's not what I expected. It was actually not bad.
Yeah.
I was actually very impressed for 1954. I was like, this is really well done, all things considered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very like stupid and soap opera,
Of course it
and
is.
dramatic. But it's like, well, it is what it is. But for 54, I'll take it.
Well, so was -1.
I assumed because that's all Toho, right?
Yeah.
So then,
No,
then I started watching.
the 50s version of that is
Way worse, probably.
yeah, way more
So
campy, way worse.
So I started watching Godzilla X Kong.
They don't
Just
even
to
try
kinda
to hide the
catch your
strings in that movie.
So were you guys talking about Godzilla X Kong last time?
I haven't
brought
seen
it
it
up
yet.
a little.
I didn't know. I didn't. Okay,
it's on-
so you
it's-
didn't see it yet. That's
haven't
why.
seen
Okay.
it
On
yet.
July 4th, it just came out.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I
So
watched
I
it.
watched maybe the first quarter of it. Not bad so far, I guess. It's just there wasn't much to it yet. So
Mhm.
It's okay.
is it really okay? I mean,
Okay.
It's
yeah,
okay.
It's okay. It's
okay.
it's
I mean, all
it's Jurassic World compared to Jurassic Park.
Of course you
oh,
would say
okay.
that.
So it exists. Well, that wasn't it. It's Legendary took it over now, right? So Legendary's doing it, and that wasn't who did it before.
No, it's the same company.
Are you sure? Did
Pretty sure.
Legendary do Godzilla
Yeah.
versus Kong?
I think so.
Oh,
The reason when I say that is Jurassic World wasn't a bad movie.
it just wasn't a Jurassic.
It
Park
just
movie.
on par with Jurassic Park, it's not the same. So on par with Godzilla, even with Godzilla versus Kong, it's
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah.
It's okay. The graphics they stand up, but it's the ridiculousness of Jurassic World compared to Jurassic Park is how is
We need more teeth. Oh, okay. Wait. When did this child become special needs?
right. It's
Like just that one moment.
When did
Oh,
when
I
did the
get it.
Tyrannosaurus Rex not become scary enough?
Yeah. We
What?
need something scarier. What?
And I love at the end of they have the reel now online of the Tyrannosaurus like on top of the platform in Jurassic World,
Uh-huh.
and instead of it doing the
Yeah.
yeah, or you have one that goes yawn, and like he's not yawning.
So okay,
But,
so
yeah.
here's
I would be happy going back to cable
I wouldn't. I'm not
and
going
getting
back to
all
cable.
the same stuff.
I'm not
But
going
here,
back
I'll,
to cable.
I'll say this. You know what? I've been so maybe this is just like where I'm at right now. I've been so weirdly nostalgic that I've been going onto YouTube and finding like a random night in 1996
Yeah,
and watching
yeah.
Snick
Yeah. Yes.
just so I can watch it with all commercials,
Yeah.
all the shows.
I know
Like
what you
I'm
mean.
doing that because I want to go back and just like
Well, let me ask you this.
maybe
though.
that's just a me saying like times were so much simpler back then. And I want to pretend I'm a kid again and get away from being an adult.
But
I
here's
don't
the
know.
thing is you can go-
there is no there, and I oh man, I wish I could remember what paper that I read where I'm citing some of this from. Like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was a massive paper that came out of MIT, and they basically did a bunch of research where they polled like 2,000 or 3,000 people. Us older millennials are by far the most nostalgic generation on the planet. Like
Absolutely.
it's wild how much
We've seen so much. We've seen so much of
Yeah,
our past
yeah.
die,
yeah.
and I think that's what it comes down
We've
to.
been
Because
through a
things
lot.
have gone, things have evolved so quickly because of technology that we're just like, hold on, wait a minute. We like the past 20 years have just totally taken
Wild.
away from
It
where I
has
thought
been
we were on.
wild.
Yeah.
So no, I know what you mean, and I've done the same thing. I've done the YouTube binge where it's like I want to watch a bunch of '90s commercials, and I'll
Yep.
just throw something on for like in the background just to have that
Yep.
feeling. I've done it. I know
Yes.
exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Or like another thing
So-
too, something that I found, and I'm not outing myself. You know where I found it. I found like
Well, we'll
the
accept you regardless of
Thank you. I appreciate that. I found the entirety of Beavis and Butthead, complete
Yes.
with the videos that they watched at the time. That is
Yes.
such a throwback That
Oh,
makes
yeah.
that show so much better. Is the two of them sitting on that couch riffing on music and music videos. It is unbelievable.
I know you didn't like the new ones with
I don't.
Jersey Shore and all
I
that
did
stuff.
not. I did not
thought it
like the
was
new
funny.
ones. The new ones are. You know why I didn't like the new ones? Because I hate reality TV. So I didn't want to watch these two 90s iconic characters.
Dudes ripping on
arguing-
how bad reality TV
No,
is.
I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. I did not like it at all.
I liked it
just-
better because they were
Yeah.
saying, "Look how stupid this is."
Right. Look
So-
how. But I would much rather them sitting down talking about how stupid or how awesome a video is.
So here's-
Listening to. I'm sorry, Chuck. Listening to Beavis and Butthead talk about like watching a Whitesnake video and going, "Oh my God, the women in the stiletto heels and blah 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 blah," versus, "Oh my God, Snooki is awful." The choice is easy for me. I don't know. That's just me. Go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So just a weird, we talk about hating cable. We talk about, never going back to that thing. But, if you really want to stick with platforms, you can get the packages that have Disney Plus, Hulu,
I know.
ESPN, ABC, all in the same spot for one low price.
Yeah, you can.
You can log into
One low
plat-
price of $499.99.
You can log
Yeah.
into Hulu and you'll have, or Disney Plus, and you'll have all of Hulu stuff. You'll have all of ESPN stuff, and you'll have ABC, which means that you're going to get the Disney Channel, you're going to get the Sports Channel, the News Channel, and the Movie Channel all in one spot.
The movie channel.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Does that exist? That does not exist.
The movie channel?
Movie channel?
Yeah, it's a
Hold on.
channel.
I have this for free. If you have a Samsung TV
Yeah.
and you have a Samsung phone
Yeah.
and you create a Samsung account,
You can get
they
Samsung.
will
Yes.
give you Samsung TV, and it's like 500 channels
Yeah.
for free. Right.
That. There's that. There's Tubi.
And it has
Roku
and
has one. Yeah. And they
and they have, like,
show
a
all
channel.
old school shows from
Yep.
the 80s
Like
and
I
90s.
usually
It's
do.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yep.
I love stuff like 'cause I'm a car guy, so I watched
Top
Top Gear.
Yeah.
They have like 23
The
seasons.
new the American ones and the British ones.
The American ones are stupid.
Yeah, I know. But
But
they have
they have all of them, and they have in Samsung Plus, Samsung TV has one channel dedicated to all things Top Gear. It's
Yeah.
every top. It just
Yep.
and I'm like, this is fantastic.
When I was about 2 or 3 months ago, I got really sick and I was in bed for like 3 or 4 days. And
Mm.
I left it on one channel on Tubi for all 3 of those days, where I was just watching Knight Rider, Hunter, and Mission Impossible like on repeat, and it just kept going and it was fantastic. I like things.
awesome.
I like things like that. I especially like that I didn't have to get a cable package to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, but that's
I don't
free.
know. It's
So
free.
that's fine.
It was awesome.
free.
It's free.
That's
I have no
awesome.
problem with that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I'm
Everything-
just saying, I'm not paying for cable again. I'm not going back to cable.
Well, no, you're not. You're gonna pay for a streaming service that has everything in it,
Now, do you remember when
which will essentially be because you can actually get Comcast, and you can get their streaming package, which gives you a handful of channels, like 100 and something channels.
Do you work
you
for
can pick-
Comcast? I feel like you're trying to sell me something.
No. I'm just saying I was listening to our friends over at the Keep Up, and they were saying the one thing that's different between how cable used to do it and the ads now on TV on all the streaming services is every 10 minutes when they would do a commercial, they would say that and this is so true, the music would ramp up
it gets loud?
Yeah.
and then commercial.
Yeah.
They would prep for the commercial.
Yeah.
Whereas you'll be in the middle of a sentence and then commercial on streaming.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is
It's like,
true.
what the?
This is true.
And then you come right back to that scene
This
again.
is true.
It's just so jarring. It's
It-
so
yeah.
jarring.
This is true. That is the leg up I'll give to cable. They had that right.
Well, that was the difference. Is that when things were broadcast, they made them specifically with breaks for commercials.
Yes.
Right.
They made it that way, and you'd know it'd be like, da 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 da. Buy Bounty, quicker picker upper, blah blah blah, $4.99 at the blah 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 blah. And then it comes back in. It's just like, hey, blah blah blah, whatever. Like that's what they would do. They specifically made it with that. So if you watch the old stuff now, that used to be on TV back in the day. If you watched it on a streaming service, there's a clear cut that still goes to commercial breaks, and sometimes they don't even use those as the commercial break point.
No.
So it fades out and it comes back in, and you go, well, that was odd, and then you get a random commercial in the middle of the episode because Netflix doesn't look at it. They just go
15,
15, regardless of what the break is, because we're just doing our business. That's it.
I'll watch a show on Hulu and it will give me a 5-second break. It literally goes to a break in the middle of whatever you're watching, and it goes blank screen, black screen for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, back to. I'm like,
That's
thanks.
weird.
This has been brought to you by
nothing.
Black. It's not a racial thing. I'm just saying.
Black screen.
I don't
Black
know.
screen.
I don't know. If we going back to cable would be like going back to VHS for me.
Oh, I love VHS.
Of course you do. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
I don't know. Player right here.
I don't know. I want to keep.
You do it. You do it.
You do it.
I do
It's
what?
just
You do it. Look at that. There's a VHS right here.
Congratulations. I do what?
You do it.
you have 16 different streaming services.
I don't have 16 different streaming services.
Right, but what I'm saying is you had the ability to go into search, type in a thing on Comcast and bloop, or DirecTV or whatever, and it would bring you to that channel or to the on-demand thing.
Okay.
You could do the same thing.
Okay. Do you remember? I don't think you're remembering this, well, or maybe you do. The jankiness of those UIs on those cable boxes was god awful compared to when we transitioned into streaming services. When it was when it was slow and janky and you had to search not through internet but through, a coaxial, and that was all you had coming into your house. That thing was janky. It was slow. It didn't always work the right way. It had a buffer forever and ever. And then Netflix happened and it was like click play and it's done. It's like, oh my God, this is so much better. They streamlined and fixed that problem.
Take that and apply it, because now cable is the same thing, because your internet is through what?
Listen,
unless you have FiOS.
I don't have FiOS. I want FiOS. I don't have FiOS.
Then what's your cable through?
I don't
What's
have
your
cable.
internet through?
Comcast.
What's your internet through?
Comcast.
What's your internet through?
Comcast.
Coaxial. All they're gonna do is take their streaming services the way that they do and bounce it off of their modem and still do it the same way as internet, which is what they're doing now.
Okay.
It's what they're doing.
Let them keep doing it.
Comcast was technically the first streaming service with their on-demand feature.
Good for them.
And so was
crap. When they first launched that, it was crap. It was awful. It was so bad.
That was 20 years ago.
I know how long ago it was because I was there and I played with it and I was like, this is awful. It was cool. I bet you it's way
better now. I bet you it's way better now.
I don't want to even try. I don't know. I don't know. I'm
because
so
now you can get
used to doing
news through HBO through.
I'm so used to doing things a certain way now that I do not want to go back to flicking through channels. I want to be able to go somewhere, click on something, and I'm done. I'm so used to using this. I can't go back to using a remote. I can't go back to flicking through channels. I can't go back to waiting for a certain time for something to come on. I want it to be like the way things are now. It's like midnight, the day of release. It's there. Watch it whenever you want to when you're done. I don't have to worry about setting a DVR. I don't have to worry about being there immediately when it comes on. I don't have to worry about waiting until 8 o'clock that night to watch something either. I can do it whenever I want to. Everything is at my leisure. I like that. I like being able to use all these streaming platforms, and I love being able to use things like YouTube to curate my own experience. I want this playlist, I want that playlist, I want this favorited show, I want that favorited show, I want a list of these, YouTubers that I'm subscribed to, I want to pay attention to this studio or this production company, and that's it. Everything else is gone. And you're talking about, I feel like a lot of people who do this, they talk about the glory days of cable, and you can get 400 channels for the low price of $99.99. How many channels out of those 400 you actually watch? Not all of them. There's no way that you were like, I'm happy to have 400 channels. Max. Exactly. 12 channels max. And they kept upping the
Yeah.
price and upping the price. And I especially feel bad for people who are like senior citizens, where all they did was sit there at 7 o'clock at night, watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, but they're paying $200 or $300 a month for their cable provider. I think that was it was an awful practice. It was monopolized by all of the big cable companies in this country, and I'm glad that it's dying. And I want it to go away. I want people to be able
it's
to
not
have.
dying.
It is dying. It is dying. It is
It's
dying. Okay, you can say that. You can say that all you want to. Cable is no.
Because we effectively, with ads now on all these streaming platforms, have, because even Disney, if you want a show, you have to wait till Tuesday at 8. It's
That's something that streaming services have started doing, which is
it's
fun.
coming back.
It's fun.
It's just instead of doing it from instead of doing it where in the school start like September they started a show and it ended in June, and then the summer you had off, you would, and then the following season, while that season is playing, they're recording the next season. Yeah. So it's the place that's actually becoming the cable is Amazon Prime, because if you want Amazon Prime, you can actually subscribe to Paramount, to Hulu, to HBO, to Stars, to all of these platforms right on Amazon Prime.
So
and just be in one spot to do it all.
So I do want to say one thing, and it's on Statica. Okay, so I do want to say one thing about the what I said a couple of minutes ago about cable being on the decline and cable dying. 40% of U.S. households are subscribed to cable. That number is declined by 20 million in the past 3 years.
Theory.
It's dying.
Yeah.
20 million people in the past 3 years who have cut the cable cord. That's not cable doing well. That's cable on the decline, and there's it's on its last leg.
The cost is going up because people have been dropping off.
Exactly. And it's
And
going
the
to
more
continue
that
to go
people
up.
drop off, the more the cost is going up, and they're going to have to let people go, and the company's just going to die, and they're going to be nothing but an internet provider, if anything.
Probably.
Nobody uses a house phone anymore.
Nope.
It's not even safe.
They have cell phones too.
It's not safe to use a house phone.
I know. Well, no, I'm saying like it's not. Okay. Yeah, you got a house phone. Great. It's not on you.
Oh, okay.
Unless you, I mean, it can be if you're walking around with a who walks around with a cordless phone in their back pocket?
I'm just confused because when you said like the house phone isn't safe, I'm just imagining
that was a cellular phone.
I'm just
It was a
imagining
satellite
like
phone.
a portable phone in your back pocket that just explodes because like